Shefsky here, and welcome to Fantasy House. Every week, I have a different special guest come on. One of my friends will come on and basically give us an imaginary tour through their fantastical fantasy house. Tons of fun, super fun. What do you call that? Like an exercise for adults in their imagination. I love doing it. This podcast is brought to you by me, Jon Shefsky, the only realtor in Southern California. It's a lot of work, but I'm willing to do it. If you have any kind of real estate needs or curiosities, hit me up at fantasyhousepodcast@gmail.com, or you can go to my Instagram, the Fantasy House Instagram, or my Jon Shefsky Instagram, JONSHEFSKY. Send me a direct message. We can talk about buying houses, selling houses, the beauty of multifamily apartment buildings, all that good stuff. My guest today is one of my good friends that if you listen to some of my old podcasts, you might recognize her because she's badass. She's a ride or die homegirl. Kari Martin. It's going to be a good time. I'm very excited, guys. Now, in the words of the great, her house is hilarious and one of the weird ones. And now, in the words of the great Ralphie May, suck that bunny. Also, in the words of the great Angelo Bowers, let us do this. Won't you take
find this interesting. So I know we've made jokes about the ghost of Ralphie May.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. So, I was just looking at a picture you sent me, like a meme you sent me with Ralphie, like a happy birthday Shefsky yes. with Ralphie on it. I was like, oh, the ghost of Ralphie.
So my friend Kat Reinhardt, who I met doing comedy, I'm not sure if you are aware of her, but she is a filmmaker.
I thought you were going to say a medium. Okay, a filmmaker.
Yes. Very similar.
And she talks to Ralphie on a daily basis. She just
in fact, he's calling in right now.
He does the Whoopi Goldberg thing though, but instead of like playing with clay, it's like throwing Cheetos in his mouth. Like I gotta be inside your body, and you gotta give me some Cheetos. Okay, go on.
He has a relatively small mouth.
Huh, Ralphie? Hey, you really analyzed his face, huh? You work for Apple or something like that?
Yes. Face recognition, mouth recognition.
Just remember, with Ralphie, he's got a small mouth.
So she made a documentary,
Mouthy May,
starting years ago about him and his then wife Lana Turner.
Yeah, she made a doc about
kids.
Lana and Ralphie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow!
But it was supposed to be about his weight loss journey because at the time he had, I think, was about to get the lap band, and he had already been on like Celebrity Fit Club. And failed, and then he had already gotten gastric bypass, and he had lost some weight, but then he'd gained a lot of it back.
Dude.
So, and she's so like thin and fit, and she said when we first met, you know, he had been in comedy, but he was helping me out. I was new in comedy, and we just fell in love. Like, and I really do believe she was in love with him. But
they were in love.
He's handsome, but his big thing was, I don't like being fat. Can you help me lose weight? And she goes, sure, but he never really put in the effort.
That's
I guess,
really hard to do. Ralphie had a painful life, dude. From his childhood, his family ties, his accident. He was in a crazy accident when he was a kid. Yeah. So he was. I mean, do you know the story? You know the story.
That wasn't in there. They did show a little bit like of his mom and his home growing up, but they didn't talk a ton about his past.
Dude, Ralphie had a tough. He had, what do you call that? Like dragons that he was running from. I don't know what you call it. But Demons. Yeah. That's his name is Dragons, right?
Demon House. Yeah. Welcome.
Yeah. Dragons and demons and dragons. He was running from all of them. That's the problem. But he wasn't running physically. Thinner. That was the problem. I knew you were going for a joke. Ralphie, that one's for you. Oh, man. So anyways.
He would answer, but he's busy eating Cheetos.
God, Ralphie. He was the best. But he had a very tough life. Because I went through some of that too when I was like, dude, you like lost all this weight. And it's not like weight that you have to lose because you feel like fat and uncomfortable in your body, right? Like there are times when I'm just like, I've had 20 pounds over where I'm like, I got it. I don't feel good.
Yeah.
I you know what I mean? Like a transgender person. I'm like, I'm supposed to be in shape. I'm not lazy. I'm supposed to be good looking. I can, you know what I mean? I play hockey, but at the same way, a transgender person, like, I'm supposed to be a chick. Why? I felt the same way, like about like being overweight and sloppy. And so I in trying to compare that kind of feeling and saying like, oh, Ralphie must have the same thing. It's like, no, Ralphie was morbidly obese in a dangerous way, had the surgeries, but dude, the addiction to food, I think anybody can relate to that, right? Like the food is so freaking good. Mm-hmm. And for me, like I use it to, I was just talking to my buddy Cole about this today. I use it to like, if I have a bad day,
It satiates you.
It's like if I'm stressed, I am just like, it's okay. The pleasures in life. This is the pleasure you have control
you're
over.
rewarding yourself.
Right?
Right.
You're rewarding yourself. And then you're in the moment, just like sports or sex or anything that you're right there and you're present. So you eat and you're like, nothing else is really happening except for the flavor of this dark chocolate ice cream going down my throat. And like, that's all I'm there present for. So imagine Ralphie's crazy journey and then not being able.
I think when people think about addiction, for the most part, they're like, okay, it's drugs or alcohol. But
no, those are the famous ones.
Right. But eating is too. And there was a scene
Twinkies
in this
are harder to give
documentary.
up.
And I hope at some point it starts streaming. They're trying to figure out like if they can get it on Netflix or where to stream it. But and also Dr. Drew Pinsky was there because you just have to mention addiction and he like materializes, I think. So he was at the screening the other night, but there was a scene where Ralphie was talking to a comedy club owner after a show, and he was like standing at the bar, and they're like, "Oh, do you want a drink?" And he was like, "No, I'm not really much of a drinker. Like alcohol will kill you." And it's like, what about the pound of weed and all the OxyContin that's in your backpack?
God, he smoked so much weed too.
Yeah, and the fact at one point you're 800 pounds. I mean, even at 400 pounds, but...
He had a great joke about it. Like, he was so fat that losing 400 pounds, he still is a giant fat guy.
Yes,
it was a hilarious bit.
They showed that clip.
Oh, God. He was such a sweetheart. He actually... I was dating my wife at the time and opening for him, and he's like, she's a good one. You got to keep her. Like,
yeah.
And I remember being like, you think so, Ralphie? I do too, man. She's really great. And he was always like, they don't come around twice in life or something like that. He had so much, which I love Southern charm.
Yeah.
He had so many fun little sayings. I don't know why we didn't get that shit over in California, but if you're from the South, like they get cool little proverbs and things you remember.
Well, he said, he was like, I needed to get out of LA and my wife wants to raise her kids here. And he goes, I think it's like a dumpster fire of a city.
Oh,
I want to go to Nashville. And so I think there was just a lot of
how can you blame him? I've only been to Nashville once, and I want to go there too.
I know, me too.
It's amazing. Yeah,
isn't that where we went for Crime Con?
Oh yeah, that's where we went. It was Crime Con. But I've met people from I met a dude from another area of Tennessee, about an hour out of Nashville. He calls it Nash Vegasville. So he's like, for people that aren't from here, they'll be like, Nashville's cool. He's like, you got to see the other towns. So I would definitely be down to go all over Tennessee, actually.
Yeah.
Tennessee.
Should we talk real quick about our flight to Nashville, or?
Yeah, we can talk about our flight to Nashville. Yeah. The way you said it is like, is the FAA or whatever going to be like, these guys are crime podcast terrorists. They're never allowed on.
No problem. Go ahead and waste 5 minutes. We're going to edit it out anyway.
I'm not editing this out. Damn it. The world will know. That was a great time.
That was a lot of fun. So
you got me drunk before we even got on the plane.
I'm an awful flyer. And our flight was relatively early too.
Yeah. I got drunk in the morning at an airport with you.
7 a.m. And I went to the wrong terminal. I don't even know how I got in there. So I was already drinking there. And then I see Hulk Hogan, which distracted me.
Oh, yeah. I totally forgot.
15 minutes. So I almost missed our flight because I had to take a bus over to our terminal. So, and you had never met Jamie before from Murderish Podcast.
Oh, yeah.
You and Rich were there. I don't think Rich is a big drinker either. So I was at the bar with Jamie, and then you come and met us, and I was like... shots and beers for everybody. And we only had 5 minutes until we boarded.
Which is the best. It's like a drinking game.
Right.
It's called
but it was
5 minutes to board.
$80 for, I'm not even...
Well, it's the airport, though.
To get everyone like...
Carrie, it's an airport.
Wasted, whatever. So we get on the plane, and me and Jamie are next to each other. We're near the back. You and Rich aren't together. You're in different seats. We're not sure which seats.
Yeah. Were we in different seats? That always happens to me because I get my tickets on Expedia and I go like, whatever's cheapest, just click that button.
Yeah, who cares? We'll see each other when we land.
Yeah, right? Let me meet a new friend, right?
Right.
Let me talk to some lady I don't even know.
I would much rather ignore everybody around me. Even Jamie, I would have talked to her for the first, because whenever there's turbulence, like...
You're shitting and farting?
I just want to be left alone.
I just want to be able to have nervous farts and never have to see that person again. So wait. Okay, so I remember getting super buzzed with you. Like we did our shots. We did like a beer and a shot.
And at one point you came back because we were back by the restrooms.
Oh, so
and I got you another shot.
Oh, serious? I see. I don't remember that.
Yes.
That must have been a good shot. Okay.
So for whatever reason, once all my shots started hitting me and I was relaxing, I'm like, how funny would it be if we sent murderous notes on cocktail napkins, because I have so many collected at this point in front of me, to John and Rich, basically saying like to fuck off and we're gonna kill you.
I feel like yours was like a secret admirer, twisted like secret admirer / like I'm gonna stalk you and murder you thing. I remember reading it because the stewardess gave it to me and I was like, oh cool, a nap. And then I was like, what the fuck? Like I just immediately, it was so great.
How cool that they're just giving me napkins. Up in the front they give you wet towels, but in the back they just give you cocktail napkins.
Here you go, you freaking loser. Scribble out your notes.
That are like awful fortune cookies that just say meat. things. So we're trying to figure out by the backs of your heads which seats you were in. So we figured out Rich's, which is fine. We wrote him something. He was fine. And the seat I thought you were in, there was... turns out to be a lady you had longer hair at the time. I want to say shoulder length.
I was in my 6-month period of haircuts. Yeah.
Yeah, it's black and wavy to the shoulders. So we sent her, she was a first recipient of the napkin. And so these two like elderly flight attendants like come to the back. And I remember the one we gave the napkin to for you was like, I don't know what that napkin said, but that lady's pretty upset. And I go, oh no, we gave it to the wrong person.
That's like when the sky marshal like takes you down. Like, that's a threat. That's a felony.
Right. And it technically should have been.
Even though it's a riff, you can't plead the riff. That was a riff. It was a riff.
Well, then when we figured out which seat you were in, we sent her back.
We're like, just one more try. Like I'm not in jail yet.
It was like a kamikaze mission. So then the lady who we sent the note to comes back, and I was like, oh no, she's on her way, Jamie. What do we do? So for whatever reason, we wrote on another cocktail napkin, we're sorry, and held it up. So it was
you held it up like she was deaf and she could just read it. We're sorry.
She would see as she was walking back. And she was just like, honestly, because we're like, can we buy you a drink? Like, we're so sorry. We thought you were our, by the way, guy friend.
No offense. You're a very sexy, handsome lady.
From the back. And she's like, no, it was fine. She goes, but I'm so hungover. I was freaked out. Like, who did I piss off on this flight that they're sending me murdery, really mean, nasty messages on cocktail napkins?
I imagine like Judy Gold, the comedian, turning around and being like, and you being like, "Oh, that wasn't John. It was wavy Jufro, but that was a lady."
Yes, and then we saw.
Wait, so what happened with her? Did she?
She was
you just
fine.
had a laugh, and then it was like,
yeah,
I'll go
she
back
was
to my
fine.
seat
She's
now.
like, no, I'm fine, and we're like, we are so sorry. Like, do you want a drink? And she's like, no, I'm recovering from last night. That just freaked me out. She was, and she was fine.
I'm sure. Like once you tell someone that someone's not trying to kill them, they're like, you know what? That's all the gift I need.
It seemed to suffice, so that was good. And then we wrote a rap because Heather McDonald from Juicy Scoop.
Oh yeah,
was on our flight.
Didn't you like make me wait?
We did make you. I think it was after I gave you a shot.
You gave me a shot.
That was
and
your
you're like, here's your task.
Go, monkey.
Yeah, pay for your shot. And I was like, all right,
go deliver this to Heather McDonald, who you walk up and she's watching
and I don't
a scary.
know her either. Yeah,
she's watching a scary movie.
Yeah,
and you freaked her out by handing her a wrap napkin.
I'm sure I could be like creepy just by being like, huh? Just by like butting in and showing my face real quick and be like, hey, how's it going? Like, whoa.
Well, can you imagine like who comes up to you on a plane with a cocktail
But dude,
napkin?
we made that flight fucking bad. Like we should start our own plane company.
That would be a fun podcast. We just travel around.
Yeah.
It'd be like one of those napkins.
It'd be like an
strangers.
escape room on a plane, and we charge like an extra $200 per ticket because you're getting the escape room experience. And then it would be like a spooky haunted house plane flight.
What would we call it? What would we call that podcast?
Spirit, Funky Spirit.
Just Spirit Airlines.
Yeah. Virgin Sacrifice Airlines.
Escape Room.
Yeah.
The podcast.
Super Southwest, like South like hell. Escape Air. Ooh, Escape Air is pretty. If we had parachutes on it, I don't know. The insurance would probably be crazy. But imagine like
they sign a waiver. We're fine. We're cleared.
We open up the door and people getting sucked out. We're like, dude, this is the best.
So basically, we should just go on a Southwest flight.
That's right. Is that what happens? Does the door open?
Oh, you didn't hear? It
Are
was
you
like
serious?
a year.
Don't tell me that.
A 2 ago. Don't tell
Did
me
anyone
that.
die?
Yes. Yeah, I want to say it was a year or 2 ago.
They died getting sucked out of the plane?
Something happened where I think something flew off the engine, like I don't know if it was a propeller or something, went through one of the windows. The
Final
lady
destination.
that was like on the window was half out.
No freaking way.
And then they had to land and she ended up dying. I don't know.
She died after she hung on?
Yeah.
I would be so pissed if I was at the pearly gates. I'd be like, what the fuck, dude? Like talking to the ref. The ref's probably got.
Well, also think about it because it's a Southwest flight. So you pick your seats. So it's like, really, God? Like I had to check 13C.
I'm never flying again, by the way. Thanks for telling me that.
Well, the lady
I'm always like, that doesn't really happen. That's in the movies.
Was on the aisle was like, yeah, usually I take window seats. But she goes, I had a lot of coffee that morning and knew I'd have to get up to go to the restroom. So I just happened to pick an aisle seat or else I probably would have been on that window seat.
And the window seat is what sucked her out. Mm-hmm. The window's so small, though. I feel like
Yeah, and I think there was another one on Southwest where
Does it suck your
there was
entrails
like
out? You get sucked out by the butt, and then the inside of your body goes. And then they land, and they're like, it's just like a kind of like a latex glove of a person. The insides are scattered all over Milwaukee.
Yeah.
I'm never flying again. Thank you. I loved it until we brought up what really happens to people. I was like, oh, murder mystery, Orient Express Airlines, great. And then you're like, and then these people actually died recently. I was like, fuck, I'm never flying. I'm terrified
do you not
to fly.
watch the news? Me too.
No, I don't watch the news. That's why I live a happy life. You want to watch all that negative shit all the time? No, sir.
No, but it does make me hyper aware.
Do you want to be hyper aware though? Like,
But that's why
I'm living in the Garden of Eden, lady. This is great. Nothing bad happens to us. We're good people.
I drink so much before and during flights. And I take Xanax, which I've heard you're not supposed to do.
When you fly or just in general?
Yeah, I guess you're not supposed to mix the two because it's like two depressants. Like, unlike two negatives make a positive, it doesn't work that way with alcohol and Xanax.
I don't really ever pop the pills. I barely even take. I'll take a Tylenol.
So what do you do to calm down when you fly?
Well, I sometimes I'll drink whiskey when I'm with you flying. So that's that one time. I've drank before. I think I got bumped up to first class a few years ago, and I was like, "Oh, sweet! They just give us drinks." But I normally don't really. I don't know if I usually buy drinks when I'm on the. I think I do. I drink whiskey in general when I want to relax in life. But I convinced myself, like what we were just saying, like I was like, everything's fine. It's not your time to go. Just get on the plane. Statistically, it's safer. It's more dangerous. That's like the Dumb and Dumber statistic, right? You're more likely to die on the way to the airport,
Probably.
than in the actual plane. So I'm like, it's fine. If you're willing to do, I go out there in the wilderness. I do fun stuff all the time. I shoot guns. It's like, this is the safest thing I'm going to do. But then when I'm in the air, I'm like, we're so far from the ground. We were never meant to be this high in the ground. We don't have wings. We weren't born with wings. What are we doing
And
up
if we
here?
crash, none of us are going to survive.
What do you do to calm down? Obviously, you take shots and just drink before you get on.
And Xanax. I went to actually Kat's wedding last year, and I flew with my friend Ed. And on the way back, we were on a Southwest flight, and so you have to obviously pick your own seats. And it was his birthday, and when you're like on your way to like the destination that you're going. So on the way there, it was fun. We're drinking at 6 a.m. We land. We start bar hopping in the airport, knowing that Kat's friend was waiting for us to drive us to the wedding location.
But you wanted to bring your best self.
Right. So we would hop around to all these different chain restaurants in the airport. And we said that we had just gotten married, and no one ever looked to see if we had a ring on, which is really weird. And then we just said that that's what we do for fun. For our honeymoon is that we just go to different airports and we just bar hop. And this was our last stop. And it was at a TGI Fridays. And so they rang the bell for us. It was fun on the way there.
Yeah.
Our ride was pissed off because she goes, no, if you take the BART to get to me, you should have been here an hour and a half ago. And, I remember on the way there, I was like, Ed, we can't tell her the truth. And then within 5 minutes, I was like, yeah, we ended up bar hopping in the airport restaurants, and she was not happy with us. But I can't keep a secret, I guess, is the moral of that story.
If she listens to this, she's going to be reminded of how angry she is. She's going to be like, you know what? Then again, I'm still pissed. It's a grudge.
Right? So then on the way back, day 4 or 5, you're at a wedding. Everyone's just pretty much partying the whole time. And I remember it was Ed's birthday, so I went to go get us drinks. And at the beginning, where his laugh, I thought his high-pitched chuckle was adorable. It was like nails on a chalkboard by day 4.
Yeah, you've been traveling too much, too close.
Right. So I come back with the wine, and he was like, oh, here's this, I want to say 60-year-old woman. He was like, and she's, going to have a drink with us. And she ended up being super freaking crazy. She's telling us about how she had been married and they had a Peter Pan themed wedding. So at that point,
what?
Yeah. And she's like, can I sit with you guys? And I was like, 100%.
Yeah. I love it already.
Right. So I have her sit in the middle of us and we're in the back, and I end up buying everybody drinks. My Sky tab was $60 to the point where at one point I go, can I have another Chardonnay? And the flight attendant said, actually, we're out. And I go, that doesn't sound right. I don't think you ran out of Chardonnay.
You're $60 though, and you're the little cat. You create experiences though, Kari. You make it fun.
Well, the fun part.
You're the fun maker.
The fun part was we were all buzzed, and at that point, the 60-year-old lady decided that she had a crush on Ed, and was like, I think he likes me too.
How old is Ed?
40.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's not too big of a leap.
Right.
Christy Brinkley's 60, right? I'll if my wife says I can have a hall pass.
No, this lady was legit crazy. I wouldn't say she was unattractive, but her craziness definitely did make her less attractive.
I feel weird even like on an episode of my own podcast being like, hey, I'll hook up with a 60-year-old lady if my wife lets me. Like, guys, I'm just riffing. I plead the riff. All my clients and all my listeners become 60-year-old ladies. Like, oh, John, you're not really
got a chance.
Yeah, you weren't hot when I was younger, but now.
Now that you're into me. So at one point, yeah, she's like, I'm into your friend. I think he likes me too. And I was like, yeah, I think so too.
Mile High Club.
I'm 100% just stirring the pot. And he's on the window because I'm a devoted aisle sitter, I guess. And so she is trying to make out with him. She keeps trying to grab his face and kiss it.
A 60-year-old lady's just trying to like rush a dude?
Yes. She keeps grabbing his
Is he single?
He is, but he wasn't like, I guess, into her.
I know.
But he is.
It's an age gap.
He was. But
he was.
And she's putting his hand into her shirt to feel her boobs.
Wow.
And so then, and I don't know why I think this is like the most entertaining thing ever besides sending you murdery flight napkins.
No, this is pretty entertaining.
Right. So at one point she goes, should I give him a lap dance? And so she lifts up her shirt and kind of like does a back bend on him and is giving him a lap dance. Mind you, there's probably like a basketball team of like probably 6th grade girls all around us. So yeah, so she basically takes off her top and as children are all around us and gives him a lap dance. And
what are they doing? Are they gasping? Like,
no, because I mean, it was dark in the plane at that point. Like it was like later on, but I definitely know the flight attendant saw it and that's when they cut us off.
What did they do?
We couldn't
for the drinking.
Yeah, for the drinking.
But did they cut you guys off for the lap dance? No, can keep going. There's no federal laws against that.
I think we were all fascinated. Ed was so upset. And then I felt bad, and this was shitty on my part. As soon as we landed, I took off because I was like, we got to conquer and divide. If I wait for him, she's going to walk with us, and it's going to be like a whole thing.
So she was that nutty.
Yeah.
She was hammered, nutty, crazy.
Yeah, she like her job, she handed me her business card. I guess she trains like Scotties, like the dogs.
I don't even know. Oh, okay. She works
she's like a dog trainer.
I never thought about the behind the scenes.
But like a particular breed, like Scotty dogs in particular.
Oh yeah, you got to focus, Carrie. You got to find the breed. You can't just go all breeds.
Or
you
the
spread
breed
yourself too
finds
thin.
you.
Need to get known. Wiener dog lady. You know?
That's actually my favorite breed.
They're so cute.
Oh, so
cute. Do you like corgis? Because I feel like corgis are a cute combo of wiener dog and like, wolf.
I feel like corgis are popular right now. I'm not sure why all of a sudden they're
like the Bill Murray sweet potato fries of dog right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for the fad to end. Not a huge fan.
What are you waiting for? What's going to happen? What's going to end?
I just want to know
some relief.
What the next dog of choice is going to be.
I don't know. There's a lot of great dogs.
Yeah.
I just met a sweet pit bull named Moose the other day.
There's a lot of sweet pit bulls out there.
Oh, sweet pit bull. Let's talk about your fantasy house.
Okay.
Okay. What's the generic location? The generic.
So I didn't think about where
the general location. Geographic.
Was going to be. So let's just say the Hollywood Hills.
Hollywood Hills. Okay.
Yeah, up in the Hollywood Hills.
Like by the sign with the Hollywood on it?
No.
Okay. We're flying a drone around it. What are we looking at? We're flying a drone around it.
Okay, so some of the notes I wrote for the room. So there will be a grotto in every room.
A grotto in every room.
And I know you like personal stories here on the podcast.
I love it. So
I went to the Playboy Mansion once this was probably, 10, 12 years ago. Hugh was still alive in all of his bathrobe glory. And it was a jazz concert. But they had open bars. And
was Ralphie there?
He was not there. No, he doesn't drink.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're at the Playboy Mansion.
Yeah, and I take my friend Jen with me.
Was Hugh there for the event?
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's a real Playboy Mansion event when he stays home.
And you get to go into like all the different rooms. So we got to go into the game room, which I think Bill Cosby is famous for molesting people. That was
classic Hollywood history. And this is the room where Bill Cosby was very naughty on very many people.
While they were passed out, correct. So
is he in your fantasy house?
He is 100% not, but his sweater collection is.
Okay, keep going.
So anyway, I remember this is when like the Real World was like super popular. I don't know if it still is. I still watch. I've been watching since I'm 15. That's almost 30 years of watching
timeless.
Real World.
It's timeless.
Agreed.
It's American
So
classic.
there was this guy on there named Timmy, and I remember he had dated another girl on the show named Susie. So he was at this event. So I was like, oh my God, you're Timmy from the Real World. And I don't think a lot of people recognize him, but I did.
You did. You're the kind of person when people say true story, you go, true story.
And then I kept asking him questions about
Real
him
World,
and
right?
Susie.
Yeah.
And like what he was up to now. And you could tell like he didn't have any interest in talking to me at all. At one point...
Why? You started such a good conversation with him about
his ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. All right, I'll see myself out.
So I go into the grotto, and I just remember some guy was like, oh, you should get in. And without even thinking, I'm like, that's a great idea. By the way, at this point...
Can you describe a grotto for our listeners?
It's basically like you're inside of a cave with a pool, but not one it's like where you're trapped in. Like...
The hell kind of grotto are you talking about? Escape room grottos?
Yeah.
You'll be in this jacuzzi, your hands will get
You know how
pruny
sometimes
until
people
you
will be like, oh, we were in a cave, and then all of a sudden like the tide went up and we were trapped, and then...
Yeah, it's terrifying.
Yeah, well, I would assume...
That's not the kind of grotto that we're talking about.
No. So, and by the way, this is like a black tie event. So I take off my clothes, and during this time, I was like a super fat cocaine addict because I would go on 3-day benders and only do coke, and then all of a sudden I'd run out of coke and be like, oh wait, I'm hungry, and then I would binge eat.
That sounds like me without coke.
So I'm in there swimming around by myself, by the way.
That's something I would do at a party.
And
fine, you guys want to hang out out there? I'll be here. I'll be chatting with a Labrador, hanging out on the water.
So my friend Jen said she was at the bar, and she goes, oh yeah, all these guys start talking, and they're like, there's some girls skinny dipping in the grotto, so we should go check it out. So she goes, I just went to go see who it was. She goes, I walk in, and she goes, you look at me and wave, and you're like, hi, Jen. And at that point, I see Timmy walk in, recognize me, and walk right back out. And then security came and asked me to get dressed and leave.
Wait, you got in trouble for that?
I had to leave. Well, yeah, because it wasn't that kind of party. Like, it literally was a black tie event. Like, people were walking into the grotto with drinks, but nobody was getting into the water except for me.
Did you think that you could get in trouble for that, though? Because I feel like I would be the guy, too, that would be like skinny to be like, we're at the Playboy Mansion. I thought that's what we do here. And they'd be like, it's a black tie. I'd be like, yeah, but like... everyone's wearing a black tie until they're not. Like, what's your case? You know?
Yeah, I don't remember. I couldn't tell you what my faculties were at the moment. But it was like 11. Like, we'd already been there for hours.
Okay.
Like, it was fine.
You're ready to go anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was time to go.
So this is you're using this to inspire
my fantasy house.
the fantasy house.
Yeah.
With the grotto in every room.
Yeah.
I
Why
love
not?
that.
Okay. So you like that?
That's great.
Okay. So then you're invited.
So you like that? Yes, that gets my approval. Like I'm some sort of fantasy contractor or civil engineer working for a fantasy city.
Are you a fantasy real estate agent?
You're getting permits. I'm actually a real estate agent, but I like to also operate in the fantasy world.
Yeah.
So that when we're all in VR goggles, I could be a real estate agent in the 3D realm or whatever. The
Okay,
VR
good.
realm. So here we go. Yeah.
I just wanted to know what you would list this out when I'm done.
We've done that. I feel like we should do that every episode because I've done that
agree.
before, and it was really fun being like, I don't know, probably like $100 billion. Like someone had an island with all this stuff. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, it's probably like $100 billion, maybe $200 billion.
Yeah.
That was kind of fun.
We're jaw rolling Billy McFarland there, and they're going to have a fire festival.
It was pretty nuts. There's not really any comps though when you're like, I own 5 islands with a bunch of crazy stuff and rocket ships. You're like, okay, I don't really know what to compare this to. Square footage, $100,000 a square inch. I don't know.
So, by the way, I wrote these notes while I was at a happy hour at Chili's last night. So they're a little all over the place.
Oh, dude.
The next one is it's going to be called the Antarctica room. It's full of penguins and Wayne Gretzky and Tanya Harding just skating around on the ice.
Dude, I love that.
Yeah. I don't know if we can force people, but I have a few actually celebrities listed.
What you like enslaved celebrities? You said force people?
To like stay in my house, like they're part of the attraction.
You can do that if it's your fantasy house. It can be as sadistic as you need it to be.
Perfect. One room will just have a bear on a tricycle that just goes back and forth.
Oh my God. In the room? Like a real bear or an animatronic bear?
No, a real bear.
Oh, you sick fuck lady. This is hilarious.
Then there will be a room with dolphins. I used to be super into dolphins. And in fact, I got a tattoo as my first tattoo when I was like 17. And it's a dolphin over my ankle and it has like the sign for infinity because I guess I was like Dolphins Forever.
That's badass. Dude, that's a good name for like a comedy album or something like that. Dolphins Forever?
I've thought about getting it removed.
No, that's not forever.
But I feel...
To thine own tattoo be true.
You're right.
You can't remove an infinity sign.
But I feel like it's like my road dog. You know, it's been with me everywhere. Like to get it removed at this point. I did get a tattoo in Vegas, though, on my forearm that said, "Still I rise."
What is it? Is that biblical or is that a Metallica?
It's a Maya Angelou quote.
Okay.
Also, Corinne Steffens, who was Superhead, she referenced it a lot in her book when she talked about giving blowjobs to different rap stars.
Still I rise.
Still I rise. Yeah.
Can I have a glass of water?
It was
Still I
at
rise.
Hart and Huntington Tattoo.
Oh, yeah. That's a famous tattoo shop in Los Vegas.
Yeah. And I remember just kind of like walking in and they were like, you're filling out the questionnaire. And they were like, have you been drinking? And I said, yes. And they go, how much? And I go, I lost count. And they go, okay, go ahead and sit down. This will be $200.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a very affordable price from Hart and Huntington. And also, you lost count was a good enough answer. If that worked with cops, oh man, I lost count. All right, move it along, drive safe.
I mean, as soon as I woke up the next day, I was just like, oh, fuck.
That's badass. That means you got a tattoo in the most classic cliche way. That's badass, girl.
Well, I remember I wanted to have it down by my
what have I done?
Down by my wrist, and he was like, "You've got a corporate job. Let's try to hide it. Let's put it on your bicep." And it was in like cursive, but it looked like Cholo script.
Yeah,
like it looked awful. So
did you have that lasered off?
Yeah,
but you have to I've never seen it. They did a great job.
So it kind of looks like varicose veins now, but you have to wait 6 months before you can get it removed.
Yeah.
So in the summer in Florida, I'm wearing 3/4 length sleeve shirts. If I do wear a short sleeve shirt, I'm putting a Band-Aid over it, so I just look generous, like I'm constantly donating blood. And it's
people are like, look, honey, there's that wonderful woman. She gives so much of herself.
How does she not look emaciated? So it took seven times, and they're $200 a pop to get it removed.
But it's gone now.
It's gone.
That's actually not that expensive to get tattooed done, to get it removed. $200 7 times.
But that's $1,400.
Yeah,
plus the $200 to get it. I mean, it was like a $1,600 mistake.
Just in defense of the laser, I used to work with this guy Michael Schwartz in Pasadena that does laser. They spend so much money on the actual machine.
Yeah.
Not even including paying their staff, whatever the staff charges per hour to do it too. But I think those machines are like 50 to 200 grand. Like I don't think.
It's only like 40 seconds. Like it was less than a minute.
But I think to buy the machine itself, like to be able to perform that, is like a huge feat, and you have to be a licensed doctor in California to do it.
Yeah.
So it's a huge. I don't know in Florida. Florida probably you just have some like hobo smoking crack with an alligator, biting your tattoo off. But
that would have been cheaper,
right?
I would have preferred that in hindsight.
Okay, take me to another. What's the kitchen like in this bad boy, in this beast of a house?
I got one more funny, I think, Vegas story.
Don't let me rush you. Yeah.
This was all the same weekend, by the way.
Okay.
So first I land. Are we pressed for time, or we're okay?
You're good.
Okay, because the rest are just cliff notes. We can go through them as quickly or as not quickly as we want to.
Girl, you go through them slowly.
So I was going to meet my friend Priscilla in Vegas, and we had some guy friends who. I lived in Florida at the time, so I was flying, and that were driving up from San Diego. So they got there first, and then they're like, oh, we're going to go out. So we're going to leave the room key at the front desk. It's under, I don't know, like Kiaris or something like that. And I was like, okay, cool. So I get there.
Kiaris was the fake name?
Well, it was his last name.
Oh, okay.
And so fake name, fantasy name.
That's right.
Why do I have a fake name?
Because it's fun to make stuff up. This is adults using their imagination show. Make up a fake name. No, I'm just joking. We already did the real name.
I go there. I get the key. I go up to the room, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm so tired. I'm like, should I take a nap? And then I was like, should I take a shower? Like, I'm sure like they're gonna want to go out later. Like as soon as like my friend gets in, and I'm kind of like looking around, and I was like, they brought cowboy boots. I didn't know they wore cowboy boots.
What?
And like. There was like a belt buckle on like the nightstand. I was like, that's weird.
Oh, I know where this is going.
And then there was KFC on the counter. And I was like,
eat any of it?
I was like, I am hungry.
I love KFC.
So I start unpacking and I turn on the TV and I start reheating the chicken. And then I heard like a jiggle on the handle. And so I open it up and there's probably 11 Hispanics of all ages. And I think only like 1 or 2 of them spoke English, and they were like, you are in our room. And I go, no, this is our room. And they're like Eddie Kiaris. And I was like, no, Tommy Kiaris. And then I realized like it was like a 19-year-old like that was at
Human
the
error.
front desk,
Yeah,
like
human
just
error.
did not care.
People don't even realize. Sometimes my wife doesn't realize. I'm like, someone could just make a mistake, so you have to prepare for like someone just being like.
Well, can you imagine if I would have
human
taken
error.
a nap and they came in? It would have been like Goldilocks. Like if sleeping in their bed, or if I was in the shower,
You might have insulted
like
it.
J.R. Ewing.
J.R. Ewing?
Yeah,
I don't even know what J.R. Ewing is.
from Dallas.
Oh, does he? Wait.
Or I think it was Bobby that was shot, and then it turned out it was a dream, and he was in the shower.
Okay. I've done the same thing just because I think you and I both are like some of the stuff you were talking about where you went to the wrong terminal at airports. I'm
Yes.
like, that's totally me, just like nonchalantly, like
All the time.
Big mistake, didn't realize it. I've walked into condos. What do you call it? This is before real estate too. This is when I was younger. Like walked in like thinking I was at my friend's house before, and walked in like because there was a party going on, and I knew I was going to my and walked in like I don't know anybody. Like where's Ralph? And they're just like Ralph. I was like. Wrong party. Like I've done that so many times. Like I've parked my car and tried to get into someone else's car and be like, "Come on, I know." And then looked at the license plate, like, "Oh, same model and color." Like I've just done that so many times. So I totally empathize with you. Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, the microwave beeped, and I took the chicken with me.
You did?
Yeah. So it
You're
was
so
like,
punk
were they going
rock.
to stop me? You know what I mean? Like I'd already talked.
But that's so fucked up. They're like, "What the hell just happened?"
Well, that's why I started thinking.
That lady
later,
took
I
our
was like,
chicken?
what if they were like, "Oh my god, like ice was in our room"? Like, what if they thought I was ice and like, wow, they just really made
No, they probably were like, "Oh, look at this! Another white woman just taking advantage of us, taking our. They took our land. Now they want our hotel." Yeah, that's funny though. You took their chicken, you jerk. But that's also hilarious.
The worst part is I didn't get any of the sides. Like
Oh,
that's
dude,
the best part.
KFC has some good mac and cheese.
Yeah, mac and
Their
cheese
mac
and
cheese
the
is so
biscuit and
good.
the mashed potatoes, all of it.
Craving.
I know, right?
I'm craving that right now. Okay.
And then the next night we went to A Go, which is Vince Neil's restaurant. And he was there with his wife.
Vince Neil was there?
Yeah.
From Motley Crue?
Yeah, with his wife. And there's probably like 6 other people at the table. And I tell our waiter, because I love to send things over to people, as you know.
As I know from from traveling with you.
And I was like, could you send Mr. Neil a shot of tequila from us? And so he goes over, he talks to Vince, and then he comes back and he goes, Mr. Neil says, thank you, but he's not drinking. Like he's a recovering alcoholic.
Yep. Like most rock stars of that era.
Right. And so I was like, okay, could you send him like a slice of cheesecake or something?
He comes back.
Some
He's
dessert.
on a no-carb
No,
diet
he
now.
did. So he goes over, talks to Vince, comes back, and he goes, "Oh, Mr. Neil says thank you, but he's not eating sugar right now." And I was like,
was
"Okay,
just riffing,
could
but-
you?" And he goes, "No,
He just said no.
I'm not going back."
He just went no.
Yeah,
He
I'm
just
not
shut you
going
down.
back.
That's a hilarious
Good for
story.
him, though.
Could you? No.
I would have had him go back and forth all night
That's so funny.
until the restaurant closed.
Then
Yeah.
you see that family, the Latino family that you left, and they're like, "Could you send them some chicken, please, some fried chicken?"
I'll send Vince Neil, who could afford it, dessert, but
Yeah, but you
send me
stole
all
from
the-
those. Oh God, this is painting a bad publicity picture for you. They're gonna vote you off the island of Earth, girl. All right, take me to another room.
Okay, so there will be a room that has 2 tanks for dolphins. One will be for the regular dolphins, and the others will be the dolphin rapist.
What's
Have you
that?
heard that dolphin rape?
I've heard dolphins are
rape?
horny. I don't know if it makes them rapists. They don't know any better. They're dolphins.
I mean, I don't know how you could figure out if they're rapists or not, because like, how would you know if it's consensual or not?
you can't really interrogate a dolphin, you know?
Yeah.
You, like put them at a desk and put a light in their face and be like, "Did you or did you not?" And either way, he's just gonna go.
Yeah, engaged. Yeah, and there's sperm on that blue dress.
Oh God. Yeah, I read some weird stories about dolphins being rapists, and there's a lot of stuff when you start looking into the animal kingdom where you're like,
Yeah.
man, like Mother Nature is sometimes a cruel, evil witch, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's weird.
Have
There
you
was
ever seen a whale penis?
up close. I jacked one off once just to get him to leave me alone. No, I'm just joking. I was in Alaska sightseeing.
Like the
and-
size of like a redwood tree.
if I make you
Crazy.
come, will you leave me alone, Mr. Whale? Yeah, I've seen so many different species penises. Come on, I've had the internet for like 20 years, Gary. Come on. I've seen all the penises on the earth.
And what's your favorite?
It's a special BBC. The Penis Earth. Narrated by David Attenborough.
podcast.
The penises of Earth. Penis Earth. Animals are trippy, dude. Nature is freaking wild. It is not all rainbow bright like teddy bears and exciting friend times. It's like a lot of just like being ripped apart. There's a Mitch Hedberg joke where like if fish could scream, like the ocean would just be super loud of people screaming. So
Well, my mom
it's brutal.
lived in South Africa, and we went to Kruger National Park. We went on a safari, and they say don't get out of the car. If you do, it's at your own risk. And there was a bunch of lions feasting on a zebra, 10 feet away from us. But
you saw that in person?
Yeah. And my brother had rolled down his window a little bit, and an ostrich ran up and was trying to stick his head in and peck us to death.
Where are the aliens and the flying saucers to them?
But they did say a lot of Japanese tourists used to get out of their cars and take pictures, and then they would get mauled by like the lions.
Wow.
But basically they're just kind of like, that's on them.
Yeah, like you sign the paperwork.
I mean, that's the beauty of Africa. It's kind of like the Wild Wild West.
Gotta go back to where there's no regulations.
Pretty much. It also had like a water park there, but like the water was brown, like completely not filtered.
It had crocodiles in it.
Definitely don't want to get wet or you'll get malaria.
That's the name of it. It's called Malaria Waters.
Park.
Raging Malaria Waters. Okay, tell me another room.
Oh, I just think it'd be fun if you opened the door and Gary Busey was sitting there.
That's it? Yeah. Just imprisoned in your house? Is he going to say anything? Does he just nod at you?
I feel like he'd be the one celebrity who would not want to leave.
Gary Busey would enjoy your fantasy house.
Yeah, you can just go in and talk to him.
That's all Gary Busey wants is to connect. He just wants to connect.
Yeah. He's just sitting on a throne with those pearly whites of his.
Smiling.
The carcass of the motorcycle that he wrecked next to him. A nut room, which I want to have just all different kinds of nuts.
Oh, that's so different than what I had imagined.
Serving bowls. It could be a double entendre.
Are these nuts like growing on all their native like indigenous plants, or
no? They're just in serving bowls.
So like there's just like cashews and walnuts and
pistachio. I mean, wow. Yeah, the world's our oyster.
I love nuts. That's what I had. I had avocado and nuts for lunch today.
Good protein.
Oh, so tasty. Fibers, proteins, vitamins.
Speaking of somebody else I want to trap in my fantasy house, Tom DeLonge.
From Blink-182?
I want a Tom DeLonge room.
Is Tom DeLonge from Blink-182?
Yeah. So
I like how Kamel's nodding over there at the editing base. Like, yes, Tom DeLonge is Blink-182.
Well, they were supposed to headline Fire Festival.
Oh, really?
And then they backed out.
I never saw that documentary, so I know like
there's two different ones. I think the one on Netflix is better, but there's one on Hulu as well.
Yeah.
And like I think Ja Rule overall is like unlikable, but he's even more unlikable
in that documentary.
Yeah.
I don't know. I only watch documentaries about genocides, but that's just me.
Well, if you want to check this one out, yes, Blink-1. It is crazy. It's a good documentary. It's very interesting. But I figured we could either talk about Blink-182 and how they ended up pulling out before they ended up going to the Bahamas for the Fire Festival, or Tom DeLonge, I guess, is super into UFOs.
Yeah. I think he's been on Rogan. He's been on a bunch of podcasts.
He's like a UFO expert.
He's a ufologist.
And I keep like tweeting at him, trying to get him on Pretty Scary. And oddly enough, he doesn't want to be on a podcast that only has like 4,000 downloads.
Is that what he said?
No, he ignored me.
Oh, I was like, Tom DeLonge, he doesn't really be that rude. I feel like, can you guys set it up so that he doesn't have to go anywhere? He could just like Skype from his house and be on an episode?
Yeah,
and he's still just like, he might be busy though. They're a pretty successful band.
Oh, I'm sure he's busy and he doesn't want to be on a, relatively unknown
Pretty Scary is pretty big. Well, I guess to us it is.
Well,
but if you're Tom DeLonge,
podcast is pretty big.
If you're Tom DeLonge, you probably just make room for like a couple.
Well, podcasts. Joe Rogan.
Yeah, you make room for Rogan.
Yeah,
and that's fair.
I would say he's earned it.
If you're listening to this Tom DeLonge and you don't want to do a fantasy house, I get it. No guilt.
He would probably have the best fantasy house.
He would have such a great fantasy house, I'm sure.
And it'd be in space.
Oh, no one's had an in-space fantasy house yet. I thought by now someone would have one on Mars. No one's had a Mars fantasy house yet. Yeah. Hint, hint. If you're listening to this episode, getting ready for your episode, hint, hint. Okay, take us to another room. Do you have a kitchen? I want to go to kitchens and bathrooms.
No,
ASAP.
But it was funny because at first when I started writing my notes, I was like, I want a room full of like appliances and a sink and a counter. And I was like, I guess that's just like a regular kitchen.
That's okay. Describe it. My mouth waters when I start hearing about countertops and islands and different kinds of surfaces.
It definitely have an island. It would have bar stools.
Nice.
I'd probably have a bar in there.
Okay.
Ooh, I should have a swim-up bar.
Swim-up bar in your kitchen. Love it.
Yes, and they only make chicken quesadillas.
I'm into it. I would get tired of them, but I can eat them for a couple weeks. Yep. Keep going.
Well, what if I Airbnb'd it?
Your Airbnb being your fantasy house?
Yes.
Yeah. In fantasy world, there's no Airbnb regulation. You can have short-term rentals. No problem.
Perfect. And then, the bathroom's just pretty plain, though. It's just...
What's it look like?
Toilet, sink.
What colors?
Shower curtain.
What materials? What colors? Shower curtain?
Gray.
You have a curtain in your fantasy house?
Yeah.
For the shower? How come? Did you ever have an accident with an actual glass door?
No, but I feel like they get like I like being able to replace and throw away things.
Yes.
Like I don't
disposable
like that.
curtain.
Yeah.
If they could make them eco-friendly, I'd be all for it. Like if they could make it to where it dissolves, it's made out of like vegetables and soybeans.
Do you
or whatever.
compost? Are you like super green and
I try. I can't. No, it's so hard to be efficient and quick in our world and do all that stuff. You have to
Do your
pick one.
kids wear cloth diapers?
No.
Oh, thank God.
No.
That's so gross to me.
I understand I understand the
principle behind it.
Totally. But it also
Are you afraid that maybe there'll be some cloth diaper users out there that are you afraid of offending?
I'm never afraid of offending. But I also like to plead both sides of our argument. So I'm like, if you are using cloth diapers, I don't care if you're offended, but also I do see where they're coming from because my wife and I contemplated it and talked about it in depth. And then we were like, nope, it's going to take more water to wash all the caca off of those little things. That's not good for the environment either. I guess the long and the short of it, as many people say, is like, we just have to fucking be, we can do the best you can. Right?
Yeah.
Just do the best you can.
I think that's Leonardo DiCaprio's message.
Well, it definitely wasn't a Leonardo da Vinci invention. I'll tell you that right now, folks. Very abstract. Very absurd.
My last room.
And with that riff that got no laughter from my guest, we will go to the last room. Is this your master bedroom?
I hadn't thought about it that way, but it should
well,
be.
it fucking better.
Yeah, it should be.
You're at the city. We're pulling permits. You have to have that master bedroom.
So it's a jungle room where I would like Siegfried and Roy stuffed.
They're stuffed?
Yeah, and I think they're still alive.
This is towards the end of your Chili's drinking binge?
Yes, it is.
You're like,
one of my last notes. Alongside a stuffed Timothy Treadwell.
Timothy Treadwell?
Do you know who that is?
Why do I know that, but I don't know that?
He was the guy who would go out and sleep with bears. Not fuck
the guy
bears,
from Grizzly Man? That was Timothy
Yes.
Treadwell?
Yes.
I think you and I talked about that documentary. That was a documentary that I did watch.
Girlfriend got mauled by bears.
She survived, right? And he died.
No, they both
died? Oh, yeah.
And it was recorded.
That was a very heavy emotional doc.
Yeah. There was a recording and they played it in the documentary of them screaming.
That's what I was just talking about, though. When I was saying nature is it's its own thing. So to try to label it as it's just beautiful and kind. It's it's beautiful, but it's also vicious. And that guy saw it. He's like, no, the bears are like people. And it's like, they're not like people.
You had a lot of great experiences, but at the end of the day, they're primal.
They are animal. And I'm not saying they shouldn't be respected. I mean, you can love them from afar, but they're not domesticated.
Well, they even said they were he stayed too long into the season where, they hibernate at certain times.
They start getting grumpy.
Yeah. And they were just he needed to eat. He saw him as a source of food. It had nothing to do.
He's not thinking in his head, I don't want to eat this guy because he's my friend.
Right.
He's just a bear that's he's not even thinking linguistically. He just sees something that's smaller than him that is prey.
Right.
And he's hungry.
100%.
That's it.
And and they had even said Timothy and his girlfriend should have left. Now that's a ride or die girl.
That's right.
I'll literally.
Is that one of your bits? One of your stage bits? I just like that. You describe it and you're like, now that's a ride or die girl. No. Getting mauled by a bear with her guy.
I know. What if that was a first date? What a bad first date.
Well, at least they won't have a bad second date.
Yeah.
We'll end on that note. It's a badass fantasy house.
Even Roy was, they just had, I think, a 2020 special where they were talking about when he had gotten attacked by one of his lions. And they were showing footage of, they have lions and tigers. And they were trying to, I guess there's one breed of tiger that essentially is an albino tiger, but it has blue eyes and white hair. And so they were breeding it. So they were breeding father and I don't know, somehow it's daughter. And then
incest tigers?
Yeah.
That's a cool name for a sketch comedy group.
Podcast.
Weird. Incest tigers?
Yes.
Dude, yeah. But
we're a band.
So they were trying to breed it and then he jumped in there and tried to give.
No, they kept breeding these tigers. So then they ended up having 12 white tigers or lions, whichever one it is, in their show. Because they were like, oh, they're beautiful. They look magical. And then they would even have them at their Las Vegas estate. And there was debate whether the tiger was just being a tiger and attacked Roy, or if he got confused and was trying to protect him, and so that's why he sunk his teeth into his shoulder.
That's possible.
And drug him off stage.
Dude, my cats are so vicious and they're just small, so it's cute when they rip into me. But my cats, when we're playing, dig their claws into my flesh, and it hurts. I've had where they pluck at it, or they're I'm like, dude, what are you doing? But they don't know. They're just little. They're being friendly, but they're just playing. I cannot imagine a 500-pound cat.
Right.
And this cat he might be friends with dolphins that are like, oh, no, dude, you can fuck any human you want. And he's like, really? And then they're like, oh, yeah, dude, I'm always fucking humans, dude. Dolphins, we get away with that shit. And then Tigre was like, I'm going to fuck this guy Roy that's been taking care of me. Is that the guy who got his arm?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he tried to, and then Roy tried to pull his arm away, and he was like, get back here. And then he ripped his arm. I'm just putting words into the tiger's mouth. But do you think he's guilty or not? That's my question.
I don't know.
I was joking. I love watching you look up at the sky to give a serious answer. No, I was totally riffing. I mean, even Timothy Treadwell, I'm sure Steve Irwin, all these people, if they could come back and say something, I'm sure they would have no guilt towards an animal's an animal. Like, you can't get mad at a rattlesnake for biting you.
But isn't that the way? Like, you have to. There's no other way. Like, you know what I mean? He's not going to be like Timothy Treadwell was not going to be like in a car accident.
No,
like he had to go out by bear.
That was the way he chose to do it, and he knew. Even if he didn't know the risk he was taking, you are what you are, right? And if
I hope I die of a liquor-inspired heart attack, blood clot that goes straight to my brain at a Chili's.
Is that where people can find you in your fantasy house?
Most of the time, it should just be at Chili's.
Where can people look you up? How can they get a hold of you?
Fantasy or like real?
In real life.
You gotta tell me when we're switching.
Oh, I'm giving you a chance to plug and like let them follow you on
the socials. On Instagram,
real fantasy or real?
Kari Martin 22 Kari, and then on Twitter, Kari Martin 722. Before, I don't know why they're different. I know when I made my first Instagram, I actually used like my bank password because I didn't realize that like
in your username or in the password.
Yeah, like my username.
Oh my god, it's changed now, right?
It's changed now. I was gonna say 100% it's changed now. But like I was just like a username. Like I didn't really get how it worked, like how social media worked, and that people were like would see it.
Yeah.
And then people were like, wait, why are you like Marina 2276? And I'm like,
dude, you and I are the same level of this weird spectrum of like, I didn't know. I always get in trouble for stuff where people are like, how'd you not know? I was like, I really didn't know that. Like, I just didn't know.
Like apartment buildings I lived at on like my birthday.
Yeah. Dude. You and I are the same cloth of that kind of like, just like, what? And everyone's like, you idiot. You're like, I don't understand what you're upset about. I thought you said to use common sense. That's what my brain told me to do. That I'll trust your gut. I trusted my gut. I didn't know that I was wrong.
There's times like whether you believe in a higher power or not, but
who, me or the listeners? It's a lot of pressure.
Both.
Okay. But do we have to swear allegiance right now in this episode? I'm just
no, to Allah.
I am a higher power.
But we're like, I think like when I pray to God, I'm just like, I'm an awful test taker. Like I need your help. I need your help here. Like my SATs, like, and I think like I'm smart, like overarching, but like test taking, I'm like, I don't know, I'm going with A, and then it's always like D.
I'll tell you, first of all, it's great to pray and be like, Lord, will you, much like an employer, will you match my contribution? I'm trying. Second of all, dude, just don't repeat that you're a bad test taker to yourself in your head. Just be like, I traditionally have been a bad test taker. I'm getting better, and you'll get better. I promise. It worked for me.
It's the end of your podcast. You're doing like self-help.
That's my tap. That's my tap. That's my what do you call it? My tip or whatever. Or I'm like, yeah, do that. If you're listening to this and you're like, I'm so bad at taking tests, first thing to do, stop saying that to yourself.
Yeah.
I swear to God. Okay, I got to get back on track.
Were we on
Thank
track?
you. Were we ever on track?
No.
That's the beauty of this podcast. Seriously, your fantasy house is amazing. It was hilarious. All the different little weird rooms.
Yeah.
You never told me what kind of countertop you did have in the kitchen with your swim-up bar.
Marble.
What kind of marble? Like light or dark marble? What colors?
I feel like I like grays.
Grays? Okay.
A lot.
Grays
Probably
marbles?
Just gray.
Okay. And then tile for the floor?
Sure.
What kind of tile?
Gray.
Gray tile? Yeah. What color do you have shaker cabinets? I'm imagining like shaker, like modern, like a nice modern kitchen.
You know what I like? Kind of like the German housing. Like they have like if you've ever been wine tasting in Solvang.
Oh, yeah, dude. I'm sure all of our listeners have been wine tasting in Solvang. I've been to Solvang. I went to a bar, so it's kind of wine tasting in Solvang, right?
Yeah, but it's kind of like they all look like German houses, like the hotels, the wineries, everything.
Well, it's a German. Is it a German city? Is Solvang German or is it Dutch?
It sounds German.
It might be Dutch or Norwegian. I don't know if it's German. We might be just throwing all white people into the same generalization.
Add us on the socials.
Tell us. Send us a message. I'm sure Paul or somebody that's listening has got to know. I got some smart listeners.
Go ahead.
Barry, come on. Somebody just send us a message. You guys know.
So let's say like German cabinetry.
Okay. We're ending on that. I feel like a hashtag blessed guest. That's a beautiful episode, guys. If this is your first time listening to Fantasy House, go ahead, hit the subscribe button. Give us a review. Maybe give us 5 stars. That would be sweet. I would love that. If you're a long-time listener, hit the share button, baby. And if you haven't left us a review yet, please go forth and leaveth a revieweth. You guys have a great day. Be silly and have fun. Mwah.